Friends, I remind you. Because of censorship, we can't publish much about the royal family here. For this reason we publish in the Telegram channel. There is no censorship. Link to Telegram in the description under the video.
Prince Harry's a cold-hearted traitor to his family and his country. Above all, love wins. Exclaims Meghan Markle at the end of another 3-hour whine-a-thon about her oppressed life as a spoiled brat princess, which even included footage of her watching herself whining about the same stuff to Oprah Winfrey last year. There's not much more to say about this ruthless social climbing piece of work who played the royal family like a greedy fame-hungry Viola, though sadly I will probably be compelled to, such is her unquenchable craving for barreling her way into the news cycle. At the start of the second, and thankfully final part of her and Prince Harry's nauseating, tawdry and staggeringly narcissistic Netflix reality series, Meghan finally grasps a tiny semblance of self-awareness when she describes herself, quoting a palace staffer, as a foreign organism that infiltrated the monarchy. I'd say she was more of a virus, and a particularly virulent one. But Meghan's got what she wanted: global celebrity, a ton of money, and a royal title she continues to exploit to the highest bidder. The series confirmed everything I thought about her, and none of it is complimentary. Anyone who disowns her own family, including her ailing father for cooperating with a photographer to improve his derided image, wouldn't think twice of encouraging her hapless husband to torch his family. But my anger at her cynical royal bashing antics is nothing compared to what I think of Harry's. After all, she's just a divorced American C-list actress now gleefully playing the role of her life, doubtless cheered on by many other woke young women in the US who wish they'd snared themselves a handsome Prince lottery ticket too, and who will fully buy into her "it's all been such a racist struggle" claptrap. When even Beyoncé texts her after the Oprah Live Fest to say she admires and respects Meghan's bravery and thinks she was selected to break generational curses that need to be healed, I groaned at the singer's depressing gullibility. However, my real fury is with Harry, whose betrayal of his family and his country has now been laid bare in hideous, eye-popping detail. Watching him publicly attack his screaming brother William, inferring he bullied him out of Britain, then brand his father King Charles a liar, and even criticize his grandmother, the late great Queen Elizabeth II, for doing nothing to help him, made my stomach churn. And to see him fuel a false but incredibly damaging narrative that Britain's a racist country with a racist royal family at its head was utterly enraging. How could this horribly privileged half-wit, who was once so proud to serve, with courage and honor, it must be said, his queen and country in the armed forces, become such a cold-hearted traitor to both? Predictably, when Harry wasn't spray-gunning his family, he was constantly whacking the media, even blaming the Daily Mail for Meghan's miscarriage, without a shred of evidence to support his outlandish claim. He's too dumb and/or too bitter to see how ridiculously hypocritical he sounds when he bleats away about desperately needing to protect his family from having their privacy invaded as he simultaneously flaunts his children in front of cameras to the world for millions of dollars. It's obvious from watching, or should I say enduring, the whole series that these two shameless grifters were filming material for potential exploitation from even before their wedding, and the main reason they've been so determined to protect their privacy is because they wanted to sell it themselves. Of course, they do their best to manipulate viewers into thinking they were victims of unrelenting racist hate from the mainstream media and social media trolls. But what they don't show is any of the substantial positive media coverage they received. In Meghan and Harry's weak, whiny, self-absorbed world, only unstinting sycophantic praise is allowed, and all criticism, however legitimate, is instantly framed as racism or bullying. Yet they still haven't produced any facts to support their assertion that the royals were racist to them, nor identified the person or people at the palace who supposedly banned Meghan from getting help for her allegedly suicidal thoughts. And where was her husband when that happened? How could a man who never stops banging on about mental health and the urgent need to get help fail to get his wife the help she needed if she really did feel suicidal? None of this adds up, and until or if I ever see hard proof to support their charge of royal racism and mental health cruelty, I simply don't believe it. Why should I, when so many of their other incendiary claims have turned out to be nonsense? Tyler Perry, who gave them his LA house to live in for a few months, is seen saying they were abused over footage of an apparent intrusive paparazzo sneaking pictures of them with their child. Only it wasn't a paparazzo. It was an accredited royal photographer who was there with the couple's approval. Just another deliberately misleading whopper from two serial moaners who are to the truth what donuts are to a slim waistline. Harry's shocking tone deafness even extends to speaking of poor Meghan's terrible pain and suffering as they flee to billionaire Perry's vast mansion at the start of the COVID pandemic, when thousands of people were literally dying every day from a deadly new coronavirus, and millions more families were locked down in tiny homes for months on end. Nobody in the Sussexes' vacuous circle of enablers who pop up during the series, tellingly, barely any of their famous friends who attended their wedding appear, seems to have considered giving them any kind of reality check. If only they'd taken the advice of Meghan's mother Doria, who, when her incredibly fortunate and entitled daughter is feeling sorry for herself yet again, tells her to keep your big girl panties on. At the end of the series, Meghan reads out a speech she made at the wedding in which she talks of their romance being a modern fairy tale, an actress and a prince, but also a boy and a girl who were meant to be together. Above all, love wins. She coos as schmaltzy Downton Abbey-style music plays out. But what these two are doing isn't promoting either love or winning. They're spewing endless toxic hate at their families and causing huge anger and pain in the process to people, in the case of Harry's family, who they know can't and won't publicly respond. They're also causing mounting damage to an institution that they happily trade off while they berate, smear, and diminish it. This is cowardly, treacherous, and despicable. And in the end, Meghan and Harry will lose because people who heartlessly ditch their families for commercial gain very rarely end up as anything but unloved losers.